Is that number increasing? Are we breeding narcissists because of the sort of social and societal changes that have occurred? I'm thinking about Instagram when you said that. I was thinking, is social media a narcissist creator?
I think it's a narcissist amplifier, but I don't think it's a creator. Narcissism is a personality style, and like all personality styles, it's a social, emotional, developmental phenomenon that happens from infancy into adolescence. So somebody jumping onto Instagram when they're 18 and posting lots of selfies, they're a decent person. That's not going to turn them narcissistic. It might turn them boring, but I don't know that it would necessarily turn them narcissistic. I think it could take, if somebody's got the traits, they have the tendency to need the validation and admiration. And again, a person posting selfies, that doesn't make them narcissistic.
Because Jack went on holiday up this mountain and he posted loads of photos.
Okay, so no, but we have to. If Jack's a nice person, right? Jack is excited to share his trip with everyone, right?
But if he was kind of like rubbing it in.
Okay, so that's all right. Jack just lost some points there. Poor Jack. But but I would say this, what we'd want to know with anyone who's posted a lot of vacation photos, right? And they keep doing it. How present are they when you're actually with them? If you say like, listen, Jack is the loveliest person in the world, and Jack loves sharing his vacation trips, and there's a little bit of schadenfreude in there, but he's a sweetie, then Jack's off the hook, right? I think though that what social media has become is it has taken, once upon a time, and you're probably you're not so young that you wouldn't remember this, but I remembered it as a full grown ass woman, is that I can tell you that if I go backwards to when I first heard about social media, I was already in my 40s at that point. And I remember looking at it, and I was already studying narcissism, and I said, oh God. And it was really like, it was almost like, Houston, we have a problem kind of thing. Someone else had shown it to me. And I thought to myself, this isn't going to create more narcissists. But once upon a time, for a narcissistic person to get validation, they'd actually have to have a shave and a shower and get out of the house. You couldn't just sit home and get validation. You had to go to work, get it in a family sphere, get it in your town bar or pub or something like that. But it wasn't going to come home from you just sitting on your ass at home taking pictures of yourself. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to take a picture of yourself with a camera. You're either going to catch your head or your mouth. Like that's how we used to try to do it, right? So now there was a tool for these people to have a megaphone to say, look how wonderful I am. So a person who was already narcissistic, this was going to harness it. And sort of, it was an accelerant on a fire that was already burning.
But it's going to keep it in the house though, isn't it? Which sounds like it's a safer place for it to be than wandering around the streets.
Yeah, well, the point is, keeping them at home rather than, But I still think that what it did though is, now we get into a bigger philosophical question. This many people depicting lives that are, look how much better my life is than yours. Look how together I am. Look how great I'm doing. While that might be something the narcissistic people will do to offset their sense of insecurity, because that's sort of the core wound in narcissism, there are other vulnerable people who are watching that content who are not narcissistic, but already feel like they don't measure up. And we've created this really messy space of people who already devalue themselves, looking at these lives far better than theirs and wondering, what's wrong with me?
Roughly 1 in 6 people have a podcast. So I was just wondering.
I mean, that many people think they have something that interesting to say, right? So, and like I said, everybody's trying to put their voice out there, their vacation pictures out there, their breakfast pictures out there are not narcissistic. I think in some cases, I don't think we should over pathologize what has become a new way of interacting. It's interesting. I have children. My daughters are now both in their early 20s, and I'll watch their facility, but I see what they're doing. It's not narcissism. It's actually communication. And they're staying in touch with a very large net of widely spread friends. And there is a lot of intimacy there. So I think young people whose cognition kind of also grew with it, they use it in a more sort of seamless way. Listen, what's it been around now? We're going to soon come 20 years, around 20 years since social media has been around, right? We're rounding that horn soon. It's going to take a minute to get the data. We're going to get our first set of data from the kids whose lives were captured from the day they plopped onto a delivery table all the way right through adolescence. That data is going to be very telling. I don't think it's created more narcissism. I think we've always had grandiose narcissists. I think they make history. They've been our leaders. They're the people we've always looked to. They've been the town mayor, whatever. I think what it has done though, it's taken this problem of vulnerable narcissism and it's really blown it up, because the vulnerable narcissistic people get super resentful when they perceive other people as having these awesome lives that they don't, and they get more angry. And this is sort of the advent of the internet troll. A lot of that is explained by vulnerable narcissists.